You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
DOJ sabotaged massive fraud case over MAGA stars post. New lawsuit, based on an article by Sarah K. Uris. The prosecutor wasn't the problem, the power was. Loyalty beat law. A multimillion-dollar Medicare fraud case in Florida, according to a new lawsuit, was disrupted after a MAGA influencer amplified an old blog post by Prosecutor Will Rosenzweig, and the Justice Department moved to fire him. The filing says the decision came within hours of Natalie Winters' social media posts while Rosenzweig was out with his family observing Rosh Hashanah. The message was not subtle. The state's enforcement machinery was made answerable to a political loyalty test. Who actually held power? The real institutional powers sat with the Trump-aligned executive branch and the Justice Department leadership carrying out its will. The lawsuit points to the president's claimed Article Roman II authority and to then Attorney General Pam Bondi as the official who removed Rosenzweig from the case. That matters because this was not some freelance online outrage with no leverage. A social media grievance was converted into a personnel action by people with the authority to do it. The smear did the work. Natalie Winters did not uncover corruption. She uncovered speech. Rosenzweig had written, as a private citizen, about his disagreement with the first Trump administration. That was then recast as evidence of disqualifying disloyalty, with the usual authoritarian sleight of hand. Convert protected speech into a scandal, then pretend the purge is neutral administration. The lawsuit alleges Rosenzweig was targeted because of that speech, or because of presumed political affiliation attached to it, or both. That is not confusion, that is punishment. The case paid the price. The public consequence was not abstract. The office had to ask a federal judge to delay the trial after the top counsel was shoved out, and the filing says the prosecution was effectively sabotaged. This is what politicized personnel power does when it is aimed at prosecutors. It does not merely injure an employee. It weakens the state's ability to pursue fraud. Months later, convictions were still obtained against 2 defendants, which only proves the damage was real, not that the interference was harmless. Misdirection as method. The framing here tries to turn a prosecutor's past criticism of Trump into the central issue, as if the problem were a blogger with opinions rather than an administration willing to break a case to satisfy a political audience. That inversion is the point. The weaker actor is made the villain. The stronger actor hides behind procedure, constitutional jargon, and the lie that Article Roman II is a blank check. It is not. It is being used as a shield for patronage, retaliation, and executive sabotage. The pattern is the story. This is bigger than one fired prosecutor. It is the familiar project of replacing law with loyalty and then calling the result governance. Trump's operation does not need to win arguments if it can simply fire the people who might enforce the law against its allies. That is how institutional decay looks in practice. Not always with dramatic declarations, but with an email, a pretext, and a prosecution left to limp forward after the damage is done. The lesson is not that the system stumbled. The system was used. When executive power is treated as a personal weapon, justice stops being impartial enforcement and becomes a loyalty-managed service. That is the corruption at the center of this story. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Ryan. Thanks for listening.